Okay, now I'm ready. So let's start. First of all, I want to thank you, Dynamo, for the invitation. It's an honor to be here. My name is Junge, and I want to talk about what kind of capabilities blockchain gives us to create platforms without monopolies. I explain it using the example of mobility because this is the core business of the company I work for. Some of you might not know Daimler, the parent company, but probably most of you have heard about Mercedes-Benz. Daimler Mobility is a subsidiary and is specialized in financial and mobility solutions. The services range from rental, leasing, and financing services to app-based mobility such as car sharing, mobility as a service, and other innovative driving services. I'm part of the blockchain factory team, which has the goal to bring blockchain services to the mobility business. First of all, let me explain what I mean with platform monopolies. I love to play the board game Monopoly, where you buy and trade streets and houses, develop your property, and the goal is to drive every other player into bankruptcy. The goal of the board game is also the goal of many players within the platform economy. They try to increase their market share until all competition is over and they have the say in the market. It's a classical winner-takes-it-all scenario. Let's have a look at a real use case. We take a traditional service like a car rental service. The provider has the supply, the customer has the demand. This means the customer is the king. In order to provide the service, the provider needs to take the reservation, check the ID and driver license on site, has to do the paperwork, receives the payment, and in the end, he can finally hand over the rental car to the customer. He has the whole value-added chain in his hand, and his profit depends on how efficient he handles his business process. The trick of platform operators is simply to improve the existing service, make it available online faster and more accessible, optimize payment, and increase the overall efficiency of the business process. They match demand and supply and improve everything and provide everything out of one hand. Face to the customer, digital contracting, digital payment, and the digital infrastructure that is needed to provide the business digitally. They act as man in the middle between the customer and the provider. And they like to act as revolt leaders who improve traditional structures. The fact that they often strive for their own monopoly is not communicated so frankly. And there's another thing you have to keep in mind. The platform operators want to become huge data companies. They collect vast amount of data and thus gain control over supply and demand. Now, the platform operator is the king and he rules over his kingdom. The question is, can you design a platform in such a way that monopolies do not arise? As in the two other examples, we start with the customer that has the demand. But in this case, it is not only the end customer who consumes the mobility service, it can also be a fleet operator, it can also be a mobility provider who wants to utilize a service from a fleet operator for his business. This can be a rental, sharing, taxi, ride-hailing, or public transportation service. We have the supply on the bottom and the demand on the top. The blockchain platform matches it in a fair, legal, and audit-proof way, without the middleman, using the combination of two technologies, IoT and blockchain. IoT is needed to achieve an end-to-end software process without manual interruptions. Blockchain secures an immutable, unforgeable record of all transactions in the network. The platform is designed based on three key principles: one-click, self-service, and end-to-end bundling. One-click means every transfer of value shall be executed with one command. This can be a car the customer checks in or the payment afterwards. Self-service means the customer don't need to go to a counter and sign a contract or show his ID. It has to be an end-to-end software process. End-to-end bundling means no matter what kind of service is combined and sold to the customer as one bundle, at any time there has to exist consensus about who delivered what and who gets how much. These are requirements for every mobility service, from urban micromobility to multimodal mobility until commercial logistics and transport. A few months ago, we partnered up with 4 best-of-breed startups to develop the mobility blockchain platform. It provides one-click rental, self-service access, and end-to-end settlement. It's designed as an open ecosystem with blockchain as the shared transaction layer. Each partner provides a specific capability. A capability is a horizontal service that is needed for implementation of the key principles. Digital identity is essential for seamless onboarding, smart contracting for enforcement without a third party, verification and notarization for audit-proofness, a car wallet to turn a vehicle into a trusted data source and economic entity capable of autonomous transactions. Our own core competence is reflected in the end-to-end settlement of financial transactions. And this is how it works as a product. We call it the Mobility Blockchain Platform. This is a demo app to showcase the process of a car rental on the Mobility Blockchain Platform. Every pin on the map is an offer of a fleet operator who has a node in the network and has integrated his fleet backend. When you click on one of the pins, you get the status of the car and the terms of conditions of the rental contract. If you want to start, you click on the button and a request shows up to identify yourself. In order to rent a car, somebody has to onboard you. This means a certified identity provider has done a KYC process with you. The identity provider verifies your ID, and with the verified ID, you can now do e-contracting. For a legal contract, you need at least 2 signatures. You get a signed offer from the provider, and you accept it with your own digital signature. This is the basic format of every legal contract everywhere on the world, and we do it on the blockchain. With your identity and your signature, you can verify the claims that are needed for the car rental. You have to prove that you're over 18 and that you have a valid driver license. Your name, age, and other personal information will not be stored on the blockchain. But the fact that you fulfill the requirements and the identity provider has verified them are notarized and stored on the blockchain. The mobility provider now has everything done to ensure that a legally binding contract is concluded and that this contract is also audit-proof. You can once again review the conditions that are written in the blockchain. And when you confirm, a digital rental contract will be signed with your signature. In future, every car will have an identity and a car wallet. With the identity of the car, I can be 100% sure which car sent me a signal and that this signal is tamper-proof. The car generates a cryptographic secure billing record and sends it directly to the blockchain. Now, the car is a blockchain client, and it can directly interact with the smart contracts on-chain. You can address the car to send a request to open the door, and you can prove with the Nexus token that you have the privileges. When the car is capable to store tokens, it can pay autonomously for its service like parking and charging. With these two capabilities, you can create a direct interface between man and machine. And there's another feature that is in development with a not yet announced partner in this moment. We call it ticketing. With the ticketing, the car is able to pay for parking tickets, and these tickets will be added to your rental contract bill. For us, it's important that the car is able to autonomously order services, because when we look into the future, autonomous driving is not that far away, and it will change the game completely. Coming back to our demo app, with the signed rental contract, you're now able to unlock the car and use it. When you request to end the rental, the car sends the billing record to the blockchain, and with one click, you can pay your mobility bundle. In the background now, the end-to-end settlement takes place. In our opinion, every business partner is not only connected to a public blockchain that provides its B2C service, because financial transactions should be handled with more privacy. That's why we think a second blockchain network is needed in order to handle the settlement process. With SmartVin, we have created a B2B settlement machine that is 100% compatible to the mobility blockchain platform and accounting systems. Every service provider gets his share of the service provision. If we would have made this a central component of the mobility blockchain platform, we would also create a monopoly, but we did not. By design, all interfaces and protocols of the platform are open and will be open sourced. Everyone should be allowed to provide its service on the platform. Everyone plays by the same ground rules. Everyone has equal rights. Everyone can join. Everyone can leave at any time. No lock-in effect shall be created. The next steps will be to enhance the platform for multimodal mobility. This means multi-service, multi-channel, multi-fleet, and multi-provider. This also means decoupled bundling. You, as a mobility provider, can bundle other services to a mobility package even if you don't provide any of them. Probably, at least on this conference, the most interesting feature is the tokenization. Imagine if a fleet operator is able to tokenize his fleet and sell tokens to investors for a share of the revenue. And the car itself counts the profit and pays back the investor. You would create a completely new investment class that can create much more liquidity in the mobility market. Imagine companies would invest their money to improve infrastructure, not to achieve a monopoly. In my opinion, the blockchain technology should be used to support co-opetition, cooperation on infrastructure level and competition on service level. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Junge. So now we'll take the time to answer some questions from the audience. 네, 첫 번째 질문입니다. The first question is, if a certified user needs to do sign for every transaction, time is short of to review the transaction. And I believe the service operator is busy to make an explanation. So is there any good resolution?
Yes, of course. We have also thought about this problem. First of all, you have to think about more of a custodianship of your identity. So basically, you decide which identity provider you want to give your data and verify your identity one time. And with this identity, you can do every kind of service, you can use every kind of service on the platform. So, well, you have to decide if you want to give the data to, call it Facebook, or I don't know. There are so many identity providers, and there will be much more in the future. And there are more or less two models. One is the more or less custodianship, which is the most convenient of the user, but of course there will be also something like self-sovereign identity service provider, where you have all the time the data on your phone, and you don't give it away. They are not available in the cloud or in the internet.
Okay, thank you very much. And 두 번째 질문입니다. And the next question is, one of the KSFs of the mobility services is great user experience. How Daimler Mobility is dealing with this regarding the blockchain-based mobility services? For example, how do you solve the service of transaction issue?
Well, right now, speed of transactions is not really a problem because there are not that many transactions that are actually on-chain. There are just a few moments where we really notarize it on the blockchain. Think about how many rental contracts there are within 1 hour. And the second thing is we've designed the platform also blockchain agnostic, so we can switch out the technology we are using right now. Right now, we are using an Ethereum-based proof of authority network, which is fast enough for our purpose. And a second thing is we can use also sharding to increase the number of transactions that are possible, because mobility is always a local service, and you can divide the network locally. It's no problem. At least we think it's no problem.
Okay, thank you very much. 네, 다음 질문입니다. What is the blockchain network you have used in the demo app? Ethereum or a private blockchain network you have developed internally?
We used for the mobility blockchain itself, as I already said, an Ethereum dialect, which has a proof of authority consensus mechanism. So yeah, and for SmartWin, we used a private network. As I said, there's a second blockchain network, SmartWin, where we use Corda for the settlement.
Okay, thank you very much. And next question is, there should be another technologies, i.e. IoT, to be incorporated with the blockchain technology to make the vision of a mobility blockchain platform. What is the plan of Daimler Mobility in terms of incorporating other technologies?
As I said, it's an open ecosystem. We really invite everybody to propose what kind of technology they want to see on the platform. For example, we have already thought about how can we integrate AI to make the matchmaking better. If you think about IoT, there's a wide range of technologies we have already thought about how we can integrate them. The magic of the mobility blockchain platform is more or less the design of the interfaces and the protocols that are open and open source, so everybody can plug in his service, and yeah, that's more or less the whole idea behind it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. 네, 다음 문제입니다. The next question is, when there is issue in vehicle in regard of the operation or management, how can we deal with?
It's quite easy because the mobility provider is still in charge of his asset, the car itself, and the rental provision. So you have the direct contact and the contract with the mobility provider. It's not that you make a contract with the mobility blockchain platform or with Daimler Mobility. It's the mobility provider itself that brought in his fleet, his service, and he's responsible if anything occurs. If there are any claims or something you have to, where you, for example, need a judge, everything right now is notarized on the platform, so we have 100% transparency. And as I said, we decided to take this special Ethereum network because it's GDPR compliant, first of all, and audit proof. And this is already verified and certified. So yeah, there shouldn't be a problem, but we will see in the future what kind of problems will arise.
Yeah, we'll see that. Okay, and next question is, to make a one-click service in rental car service, I believe such technology as decentralized ID can be a good solution to be applied. So what do you think about it?
He's completely right about it. Decentralized ID is one of the, I would say, next capabilities we will bring in with this ticketing feature, because we need a decentralized ID of the car, we need a decentralized ID of the parking infrastructure, which are communicating and negotiating for the parking tickets. So we will definitely use DID to use this kind of problem.
Okay, thank you very much. 네, 다음 문제입니다. I believe the optimization of the autonomous vehicle is electric vehicle. So when can we use the autonomous vehicle and combined with the blockchain technology?
Good question. Well, at least what the company already announced, I think it's I'm not really good in product roadmaps, but I think it's end of this year when the new S-Class will be released or shown to the public. And with the new S-Class, you have already very high sophisticated autonomous driving services you can use. It's not level 5, but it's really close to what I think when this kind of shifting of the game will take place. So when we have really cars that can be operated without a driver, probably it will take some years. Nobody can say right now, not even Elon Musk can say when he can deliver Tesla cars with level 5 autonomous service. Sorry.
It was a good answer to a good question. And next question is Daimler planning to issue its own cryptocurrency?
At least not with this project. The tokenization will be one of the bigger milestone for the platform, but it's not planned to have our own currency. We will see. At least on this conference, I already received some good idea how a utility token can be used to manage the platform much more efficient than what we have created right now. So we will see if we have a utility token on the platform, but a cryptocurrency is something I would leave to experts like you. And maybe you want to bring in a cryptocurrency. I don't know, maybe for payment, maybe for other things. We are open for it, and we will definitely design the interface for it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And next question is, in terms of the blockchain combined rental car service, I believe how to detect the bad willing user is the issue. So if there is car accident with the rented car, or if the user is willingness to make a break, then how can we detect such bad willing user?
How do you detect it today? Well, this is, as I said, a normal business. Every rental car provider right now deals with. So we don't invent with this mobility blockchain platform the wheel completely new. We just provide capabilities for rental car providers that they can run their own business on a platform where they don't have a vendor login. And so probably we have to sit together with a lot of rental car provider and find out what kind of solutions we can bring in to support the mobility provider. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it will be something like video surveillance, or maybe there are features in the car that say, okay, somebody is damaging the car. I don't know yet, but we will definitely want to provide such a service, such a capability that the rental car provider can use it. And there's another thing, of course, insurance. Insurance will also be one of the capability that can be brought in. So, that's
insurance can be one of the answer to that.
Insurance can be one of the answer, but first of all, you have to detect it. And there are so many ways how you can do it. You can do it by person, or you can provide a technology for it.
Okay, thank you very much. 네, 다음 질문입니다. The next question is, how can the rented car can communicate with the blockchain system? And if the wireless communication or telecom is entered to the communication with blockchain system, there should be some security issue. So what kind of security technology do you use?
First of all, the question was about, I think, offline availability. Well, the thing is, right now we also have offline wallets, and the car will have a wallet as well. So the car itself has a blockchain client, so it can operate like any other off-chain wallet. The second question was about the security of the network. Yes, the security, I think, is a completely different topic because we can use any kind of security that is provided either by the blockchain technology or by the transmission channel. So there are so many ways how you can make a network secure and also the transaction between two entities. I would say this is not really a problem we have to solve. We just have to find the best solution that we plug in.
Okay, no worries. Okay, thank you very much for answering to many questions. 네, 수고해주신 얀융애님께 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.